Hey there, it's Kaylee.
And Vanessa.
And we're back with another episode of The Struggle is Real.
Because we know the struggle to talk about mental health and be mentally healthy is real.
The struggle is real.
Before the break, we alluded to the fact that we were going to be talking about mental health and physical health. So get ready, because that's what we're going to do today.
We warned you, here it is.
You can't escape.
But we aren't really experts with fitness. We don't, that's just not our thing. We don't know a lot about that.
We talk a lot about Netflix and sitting in bed and eating pizza.
That's really what we're good at. So we brought in an expert to talk to you guys about the connection between being active and exercising and your mental health.
Her name is Madeleine Gears, which rhymes with fierce, which is exactly what she is, because she just knows everything about physical fitness and mental health. It's amazing. And as we do with the other people we interview, let's just let them talk.
My name is Madeleine. I'm a PhD candidate at the University of Saskatchewan in kinesiology, and I'm a PhD student here at Queen's University studying clinical psychology with a focus on health psychology. My research looks at physical activity interventions for public health and health promotion, which is a really fancy way of saying why we're active for our health rather than competitive athletics. So there's this general connection between the mind and the body. So we typically think of the body being one thing and the mind being one other thing, and the two are really separate. And that's a social thing, it's a philosophical thing, it's really long-standing. But evolution is really challenging the way that we view them, and so is neuroscience developments and psychological developments. So we think about cavemen and their movement. It was really important for them to be able to find things in their environment to eat, to avoid predators and running away from those saber-toothed tigers, and it was important for them to move in a whole bunch of ways. So for cavemen, this was really, really beneficial because having a body that let them move is a body that could find food and stay away from predators. In today's world, we don't exactly need this. We have Netflix that keeps us entertained, we have takeout that brings us food to our door so we don't have to go hunting, and for the most part, we don't have really any dangers or environment that we have to run away from. Sure, you don't go down a dark alley in the middle of the night, but we don't have to worry about saber-toothed tigers jumping out at us on our way to classes in the day. So we don't need physical activity today to survive like we did once upon a time. But the problem is that our bodies are from about 10,000 years ago, so our bodies are meant to be moving and they're meant to be active in this way. So because our bodies were meant to move, there's a lot of physiological things that happen, which are chemicals, and our organ systems are really helped by being active in our day-to-day lives. But we also see benefits for mental health and how we feel about ourselves. And there's really three ways in which physical activity can help us psychologically. One is called health promotion, one is disease prevention, and the other one is treatment. So promotion is a positive thing that happens when we take something that's really, really good and we improve on it even more. So it's those great feelings that we get when we're exercising. We have endorphin rushes, which are chemicals that make us feel great. We have increased confidence. We are going out into their community and socializing. We're getting outside, and all of this makes us feel really, really good. Mm-hmm. There's disease prevention sides of it. So being active can reduce our risk of depression. It can also reduce our risk of anxiety. And new research is it can actually reduce our risk of Alzheimer's disease later down the road. It's one of the most powerful ways that we can reduce our risk of Alzheimer's, actually. And in terms of treatment, we know that being physically active can help people who already have depression and have anxiety. And in fact, there's been studies done looking at people with treatment-resistant depression. So this is depression that isn't helped by medication and isn't helped by cognitive behavioral therapy. And if we get a lot of these people active, they actually have improvements, which is great to see. So if we want to take all this information and condense it into a couple of main points, one, being active is good for our body, and two, being active is also good for our mind. Being active makes us feel better about ourselves in terms of our confidence and our self-esteem, and it also reduces our stress and our anxiety and our depression and all those yucky things that we feel as well. Something that we're asked quite often is how much activity you need to be active, which is kind of white people's way of saying how little activity do I actually need to be okay. So we know that any activity is better than no activity. If it's a matter of 2 minutes versus 0, take the 2 minutes. It's always better to do something rather than nothing. In terms of the science, there's a whole bunch of researchers all over the world who do these things called meta-analyses, which is a fancy word for saying we're going to take a whole bunch of studies, put them together, and see what the magic number is at the end. And out of all this research, we know that doing 150 minutes of activity per week is the golden number. You want to be doing 150 minutes or more for health benefits. This comes out to about 2% of your week. It's around about 25 to 30 minutes per day if you're going to break it up into daily chunks. So what you should be doing is those 150 minutes in about 10-minute bouts or greater. So 10 minutes is about the duration of your coffee break, and you want to be exercising at either a moderate or vigorous intensity. So a moderate intensity is something like a brisk walk, like you're running to catch the bus, and vigorous intensity is when you're actually sweating and you're quite out of breath and you're really giving yourself a good workout. So I've now convinced you that physical activity is good for your mental health. You now know that you should be aiming for about 150 minutes a week. So you're probably wondering, okay, how do I start? What's the first step that I need to take? This varies for everyone, and really, if you were to come up with the solution for everyone, you'd probably win a Nobel Prize, because it's a really tough question. People are active for a whole bunch of reasons. Fundamentally, though, you have to find something that you love to do, and you do it for the reasons that you want to. So experiment a little bit over the first couple of weeks and find an activity that you really enjoy. It could be something that you've tried before, it could be something new, it could be a traditional activity like basketball or volleyball or running. It could be something completely left field like rock climbing or sailing or ice scaling or something like that. So something completely random, but the most important part is that you love it. Because if you love an activity, you're going to stick with it over time, because it's not work then, it's actual fun and you enjoy it, it's a hobby. Once you find the activity that you like, it's important to take it up in baby steps. So we don't go from being a couch potato to running marathons overnight. Our body just can't handle it. We need to have those physiological systems in place. So what we do is go up in baby steps. So maybe say you're really, really out of shape and all you can manage is a 1-minute walk. That's great. Walk for a minute. Next week, add a little bit more. Let's walk for 2 minutes instead. The week after that, let's try walking for 4 minutes and then 8 minutes, and we work our way up. Just like time, we also do that with intensity. So if we're starting at a light intensity exercise, which is a gentle walk that you might have in the evening, we're going to build our way up to a moderate exercise, which is going to be a little bit brisker and get your heart pumping a little bit more, and then we're finally going to get our way up into vigorous exercise. So we're going to build bit by bit until we hit that 150 minutes or more. It's really easy to talk about being physically active, but being active is much more difficult than just talk. Physical activity often takes second place to things like completing schoolwork, family obligations, if you have a part-time job or full-time job, and doing fun things with friends. And oftentimes it gets pushed to a side. And we know that a lot of people struggle with it also for motivational reasons. So being active can be really physically uncomfortable, especially if you're just starting off. Sometimes your muscles are really sore the day afterwards, and sometimes you just aren't confident in your ability to exercise, which is really quite common. Even if you're a gym rat, most people tend to struggle with going to the gym every so often. It can be really, really tough to put on your shoes and head out the door. And this is probably even more difficult if you have a mental health problem like anxiety or depression. Some things to remember that if you're really struggling to get out is, one, that you're going to feel really, really good after exercising. Exercise releases endorphins, which are feel-good chemicals that improve your mood and they'll make you feel less stressed. So if you focus on the good and the great things that are going to happen after you exercise, can sometimes provide that motivation that you need to get out the door. Another great way to be active if you're struggling is to enlist a buddy. So it could be a friend from school, someone you've met at the gym, or a family member, and arrange to meet them at a certain time and a certain day for a workout. So this could be something like a gentle walk, or it could be something more intense. But if you have this person that you know is going to be sitting there and waiting for you, it can be a great way to motivate you to get out and give it the first step. One of the things to remember is, if you're struggling with being active, is that this is a totally normal experience. It's totally human to have a slip up every so often. It's totally expected, and it doesn't make you a bad exerciser. It makes you perfectly normal. So when you're starting to feel down about yourself because you've missed running for the past week or you skipped a couple swim practices, is just to step back, take a breath, and realize that, you know what, hey, this is normal. I can do it. I can get back on the bandwagon. It's just really a matter of self-compassion. There's also a lot of myths about exercise that are really important to address right now, and the biggest one is no pain, no gain. People typically think that to get anything out of exercise, they need to be in physical pain or emotional pain, be really, really uncomfortable, and just not having fun, and that's completely not true. Physical activity should always be comfortable and it should always be enjoyable, and if you're feeling pain while you're working out, you're doing it wrong. You could be hurting yourself, so it's important to stop, and if the pain continues, to go check it out with a doctor. There's a difference between challenging yourself and being in pain, which is important to emphasize. So once you get really good at exercise and you start to know your body, you're going to know where to push your body comfortably in order to make your body and your mind stronger. This is different than being in pain, and it's really important to know the difference. The most important thing people should know about physical activity and mental health is that the two actually are connected. We tend to think of the body as being the body and mental health as being mental health, and the two being completely distinct, when actually there's a lot of connections between them, both subtly and quite substantially. So if we want to take care of our mental health, we can't neglect our physical body. We have to take care of it, we have to exercise regularly, and we also have to eat well. Another important thing about physical activity and mental health is just the importance of trying. We often think that physical activity is really difficult, that it's not fun, or that we aren't going to be good at it. And you know what? We aren't going to be great at everything. I'm really, really bad at volleyball. I'm really good at rowing. So it's a matter of going out, finding out what you enjoy, and just rocking it. And you might not be good at it, but if you're going out there and having fun, you're going to be helping your body, you're going to be helping your mental health. And that's the most important thing.
All right, so thanks so much to Madeline for telling us all about why physical activity is so important for our mental health. We hope you guys learned as much as we did, which is a lot.
And obviously, we have a challenge for you.
As usual.
Challenge. And your challenge is, you can probably guess, to do some physical activity.
Just do it.
But baby steps, remember? Just put on some workout clothes. Go for a 2-minute walk. Don't get wild. Just baby steps.
Baby steps. What we want you to do is try and aim for that 150 minutes that Madeline was talking about. But if you're nowhere near that in your daily life, that probably shouldn't be a realistic goal for you right now. Remember we talked about last episode was checking in with yourself and figuring out what your baseline is. What is your typical day like? And then make goals that are realistic to that. So if you're currently exercising maybe like 5 to 10 minutes a week, maybe a realistic goal for next week is 15 to 20 minutes. So just try and make a goal that's realistic from where you are right now.
And remember, if things don't go according to plan and you only get 5 to 10 minutes this week, don't beat yourself up. Be nice to yourself. Self-compassion. Cool.
Cute.
Cute. It's cool, man.
It's cute. Thanks so much for sticking with us again this week.
We know the struggle to talk about mental health and be mentally healthy is real.
But hopefully after this week, it's a little bit easier.